If I was a young artist, I'd probably go and live in Germany, because I think that Germany is the motor of Europe, and it's the intellectual center of the art world. And Berlin is very similar to what New York was. And New York may be, possibly, at the end of its burning life as an art center. You know, New York may be moving to be what Paris was in the 60s. It's still the headquarters in a certain sense, a showing place. But creatively, I might move to, yeah, I might go to Berlin, where you can get cheap places. And it's very important when you're a young artist to have friends, because you have to keep each other warm. You have to hold each other, learn from each other, support each other, make a society and keep each other warm. And that's how you can get through. Well, I found the whole figurative art movement fascinating. I thought it was a wonderful defense of painting. And I don't particularly make a distinction between abstraction and figuration in terms of what I like, what I'm attracted to. And I'm very attracted to the Leipzig school of painters, Neo Rauch, for example. I find very, very nice. And many others. There are many others. And I thought that was a very interesting way of renovating an interest in painting. And what seems to happen, or what has happened so far, is that there's a strong sense of figuration. I don't know if this is an oversimplification, and well, any generalization is oversimplification, but in times of richness, wealth, figurative art, what's sometimes known as pop art and all its derivations, painterly pop art and so on, which the young German painters were interested in, tends to be in the foreground and very dominant because it's popular and more people get involved. But as art withers to its trunk, it gets harder, and then abstraction seems to make a comeback. And this is certainly what happened if you look back at the 90s, where there's a lot of abstraction, the 80s, where there was a lot of figuration, and that was a epoch of copious wealth. The 70s was abstract, the 60s was full up with pop art. So this seems to happen. And now we might be looking at a lot of abstract painting. Well, I think the next generation of artists, painters, artists, will be more concerned with a kind of regeneration of spiritual value, a reflective art, as opposed to a populist, bombastic, obvious art. I think there'll be more integrity in art, because art and politics do hold hands. They do walk down the avenue together. I think we're going to see that, and we've got that now in the United States. We've got to move significantly to social order, social awareness, social caring, a sense of responsibility, repairing the extremely tarnished, wantonly tarnished image of America outside America, and a sense of global responsibility, the sense that we're all in a family together, which is what John F. Kennedy talked about. We all breathe the same air. It's a famous remark. And I think we will return to that, and the artist will be concerned with a more reflective vision.